I'm Liyana Hassanel, and this is Nightline, the top stories. Resolve internet issues or face stern action, warns Fahmi to Telcos. And Aaron Chia Wu Yik and title drought with BAC victory. Good morning. The 2025 Badminton Asia Championships in Ningbo, China. National shuttlers Aaron Chia and So Wu Yik ended an 18-year wait for a men's doubles title with a historic win on Sunday. The world number 6 toppled China's world number 16 Chen Boyang and Liu Yi 21-19, 21-17 in a thrilling 47-minute final, to emulate the feat of Chung Tan-Fuk Li Wanhua in 2007. This marks Chia and So's first ever BAC title, having previously finished runners-up in 2022 after losing to an Indonesian pair in the final. It was also their fourth career title after winning the 2022 World Crown in Tokyo, the Super 750 Denmark Open in 2023, and the Korean Masters Super 300 last year. The win earned them $37,000 and extended their head-to-head lead over Chen and Liu to 3-1. Telecommunication companies have been instructed to immediately submit an action plan to address poor internet coverage and non-compliance with the mandatory standards for quality of service (MSQS) nationwide. Communications Minister Datuk Fahmi has warned that failure to comply will result in enforcement action, including possible fines amounting to millions of ringgit.
Kalau kita lewat sehari dua terus dia dah tutup line. Tapi bila kita mengadu pada dia berbulan-bulan. So I've had enough. Dan saya minta sekiranya mereka tidak dapat mengemukakan penyelesaian yang cergas dan tuntas menjelang jam 5 petang hari ini, esok MCMC akan mengambil tindakan penguasaan terhadap mereka.
The deadline had been given following recurring issues detected in various locations, including Orang Asli settlements in Air Kuning, where internet access has been described as extremely poor. On March 5th, the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission conducted a nationwide internet speed dry test, which revealed widespread connectivity issues, even in areas close to populated zones and major roads. Under MSQS guidelines, internet speeds must achieve at least 7.5 megabits per second, while the standard is expected to be raised to 10 megabits by next year. Meanwhile, the public has been reminded to exercise caution when posting on social media, especially during the campaign period for the Air Kuning state by-election. Communications Minister Datuk Fahmi has urged Malaysians to refrain from making sensitive or inflammatory remarks, particularly those touching on the 3 Rs, namely religion, race and royalty.
Mereka yang didapati mengeluarkan ataupun memuat naik posting bersifat jelik melampau, termasuk yang mengandungi kandungan 3R, sekarang sekiranya disabitkan di mahkamah boleh didenda sehingga RM500,000 atau di compound sehingga RM250,000.
Fahmi was speaking to the media during a community outreach program at the National Information Dissemination Centre, or NADI, in Air Kuning. He added that so far no official complaints have been received, but warned that there is a possibility such incidents could arise as the campaign heats up in the coming week. As spokesperson for the Unity Government, Fahmi also reminded all ministers to comply with the directive not to make any announcements concerning new government projects during the election period. In another development, the Communications Minister said the government is open to reviewing and refining existing laws, including those governing
satu kes mahkamah yang telah difailkan yang mencabar akta JAC itu sendiri maka Kabinet akan meneliti, kerajaan akan memerhati dan memperincikan apakah cara-cara terbaik untuk menambah baik undang-undang.
According to Fahmi, since the current administration took office, more than 80 laws have been tabled in Parliament, either for amendments or as new legislation, reflecting the Madani government's commitment to strengthening institutions and democratic systems. His remarks came in response to a recent speech by Chief Justice Tun Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat at the 24th Commonwealth Law Conference in Malta, where she called for the Judicial Appointments Commission Act to be amended. She proposed removing the Prime Minister's role and advising the Yang di-Pertuan Agong on judicial appointments. However, former Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Nazri Aziz criticised Tun Tengku Maimun's statement, calling it unprofessional. He said the comments not only embarrassed Malaysians in the eyes of the world, but also gave a negative image of Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Nazri also suggested that stern action be taken against the Chief Justice for the remarks. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim and Raja Permaisuri Agong Raja Zahir Sofia have extended their Vaisakhi and Tamil New Year greetings to the Sikh and Tamil communities in Malaysia. In a post on His Majesty's official social media account on Sunday, Their Majesties expressed hope that this year's celebrations would bring greater happiness and well-being to those observing the occasions. Sultan Ibrahim also emphasized that harmony among the people, regardless of background, is the cornerstone of the nation's prosperity. The Sungai Golok flood mitigation project is set to serve a dual purpose. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof said that the project will not only address the issue of flooding, but will also help safeguard the national border. According to Fadilah, the proposal will be brought to the cabinet meeting for further deliberation. However, the allocation for the project has yet to be determined.
Banyak, sebabnya satu pagar ya untuk border control, sekali jadi pagar ya, jadi bukan saja untuk pagar air tapi pagar untuk flood mitigation sekali, dan pengorekan sungai, mendalamkan muara, dan juga molah ban di samping molah peparitan dan salirannya lah.
He said this to the media at an event in Kuching, Sarawak on Sunday. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim previously announced that the Integrated River Basin Management Plan will be implemented simultaneously rather than in phases. The decision is expected to expedite the projects while also reducing the flood risk in Tumpat, Pasir Mas and Rantau Panjang. The two temporary evacuation centres that were set up to shelter victims of the recent gas pipeline fire in Putra Heights on April 1st have been officially closed. All 613 affected families have now returned to their homes, including those who had been relocated to rental units and temporary accommodations. According to the Petaling District Disaster Management Committee, the final group of evacuees, consisting of 210 individuals from 60 families, began leaving the last active centre at the Putra Heights Mosque earlier on Sunday morning, with the centre fully shut down by 3 p.m. Authorities had issued official evacuation notices for both centres on April 10th. The other relief centre at Camellia Hall, which housed 60 victims from 16 families, was officially closed on April 9th.
Yang mana kediaman telah musnah, kita telah menyediakan rumah sewa yang ditanggung oleh kerajaan negeri. Juga untuk bulan pertama, kerajaan negeri telah menyediakan rumah sementara terdiri daripada homestay dan Airbnb dan memberi bantuan selama sebulan untuk barang asas kehidupan.
The explosion at about 8 a.m. on April 1st caused extensive damage, rendering 87 homes uninhabitable and affecting an additional 148 houses. The scale of the disaster had prompted the immediate opening of the evacuation centres. Meanwhile, a victim of the fire incident in Putra Heights, who is being treated in the intensive care unit (ICU) of a private hospital, is reported to be in better condition. Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad said the 21-year-old male victim is, however, still dependent on a ventilator.
Intubated but getting now on inotropes yang agak better lah. Yeah, still supported but improving.
He said this in a press conference after launching an event in Putrajaya on Sunday. The victim was previously reported to have sustained burns covering 21% of his body, including to his face and neck, along with multiple organ failure syndrome. Dr. Zulkifli added that as of Friday, 30 other victims were still receiving treatment at both government and private hospitals. In the meantime, nearly 500 tons of waste have been cleared from the site of the recent gas pipeline explosion in Putra Heights and Kampung Kuala Sungai Baru in Subang Jaya, Selangor. Over 4,000 personnel and volunteers from 20 different agencies, including government departments, private sector companies, and non-governmental organizations, were involved in the large-scale cleanup operation, which began on Saturday. According to KDEB Waste Management, the waste total was recorded as of 2 p.m. on Sunday. On the second day of the cleanup, which began at 9 a.m., teams focused on removing burnt or dead trees, collecting bulk waste, and clearing debris from roads in affected areas. Roll-on, roll-off waste bins had also been placed at the end of every residential lane to help residents dispose of damaged household items. The cleanup had been organized into 3 main sectors, Zones A, B and C. Zones A and B cover the Taman Putra Harmony residential area, while Zone C encompasses Kampung Kuala Sungai Baru. Samaritan killed in drunk driving incident. This and more on the local when we return.
Kebakaran di Gebeng ni boleh kita katakan aktiviti yang sentiasa berulang.
Kesukaran kita untuk memadam kebakaran ni, dia memerlukan air yang banyak kerana kebakaran tu berada di 2 kaki, 3 kaki dalam tanah.
Paling rumit, rasa macam dah tak nak buat. Susah sangat. Dalam tu ada tangga lagi sebab rumah asal macam tu. Kena ada kekuatan diri. Kita nak jadikan benda tu kenangan pada anak-anak cucu. Rumah kat mana kita, macam mana kita duduk dulu.
Lambakan tembikai di pasaran 99 sen sekilo. Apakah puncanya?
Luka akibat melecur, ketahui komplikasi dan juga cara rawatannya.
Jangkitan HIV di kalangan remaja semakin meningkat. Antara puncanya, hubungan songsang.
Halang tugas penjawat awam, anda boleh dikenakan tindakan di bawah Seksyen 186 Kanun Keseksaan.
Soal wang, impak kenaikan tarif Amerika Syarikat ke ekonomi Malaysia dan juga dunia.
Saksikan Malaysia hari ini, Isnin hingga Jumaat jam 10 pagi.
Di TV3 dan juga stream dituntun.
Baik saja tertuduh menyalakan pemeti api, api telah menyambar badan si mati hingga menyebabkan beliau melecur hampir keseluruhan badan beliau.
Siasatan mendapati punca utama kejadian adalah konflik dalam hubungan mereka.
Mati telah melecur terbakar sebanyak 95%.
Taklah Tuhan tak adil dengan aku. Kenapa aku tak dapat apa-apa yang budak lain dapat?
Siapa sebenarnya ayah kami?
Kalau aku tahu perangai kau macam gini, aku takkan biarkan mak kau bela lagi seekor anak haram.
Kau dah hancurkan hidup aku!
Dari rahim yang sama, mulai 14 April, Isnin hingga Khamis, 10 malam. Terbaru di Samarinda, TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Welcome back. A food delivery rider's noble act of stopping to help a crash victim in Johor Bahru turned tragic when he was struck and killed by a car driven by a drunk driver. The victim, 37-year-old Muhammad Taufik Arif Sarif, was pronounced dead at the scene.
Okey, langgar lari guys, langgar lari.
The incident happened at about 2 a.m. in Taman Desa Jaya when a Myanmar national in his 30s had lost control of his motorcycle while heading towards Taman Setia Tropika. Police said he fell in the middle of the road and died at the scene due to severe head injuries. Muhammad Taufik, who had been driving home to Bakar Batu with his wife, stopped to assist at the scene, but was hit by another oncoming car before he could offer help. He had only been married for 7 months to 40-year-old Suhaida Yusuf. Meanwhile, Seri Alam District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Muhammad Suhaimi Ishak confirmed that the 25-year-old driver who hit Muhammad Taufik was under the influence of alcohol. The suspect is now under a 4-day remand to assist with investigations under Section 41(1) and Section 44(1) of the Road Transport Act. In Sarawak, a total of 67 individuals were left homeless after a blaze consumed their houses in Bintulu on Sunday. In the 12:26 a.m. incident, the fire destroyed a total of 6 single-story terrace houses at Taman Bukit Orang. According to the Bintulu Fire and Rescue Department, 2 teams from the Bintulu and Kidurong stations was dispatched to the scene after they were alerted to the incident. Upon arrival, firefighters found that the fire had already engulfed the entire permanent structure of the terrace houses. The firefighting operation lasted almost 3 hours, with the flames finally brought under control at 2:55 a.m. 6 vehicles, including a 4-wheel drive, were also destroyed in the fire. No injuries or fatalities were reported, as all occupants managed to evacuate. The cause of the fire and estimated losses are still under investigation. Also in Sarawak, a family of 6 in Lawas narrowly escaped death when their house collapsed on them on Sunday. The incident occurred at about 3 a.m. when all 6 were asleep. A team from Lawas Fire and Rescue Station was immediately dispatched to the scene after a distress call was made regarding the incident at 3:10 a.m. Upon arrival, rescuers found that the non-permanent structure had collapsed completely. 5 of the victims escaped with minor injuries, but an elderly woman was unable to move after getting her leg pinned under a fallen cabinet. Firefighters successfully freed the woman before she was sent to the Lawas Hospital for treatment. An investigation is underway to determine the cause of the incident. In Kelantan, a subsidiary of a Chinese construction engineering conglomerate was fined 50,000 ringgit by the Kota Bharu Sessions Court for stealing treated water owned by Air Kelantan Sdn Bhd AKSB for a luxury condominium project in 2019. The decision was made before proceedings began after the company pleaded guilty to the charge and given its prior payment of 42,690 ringgit in compensation to AKSB. The company was represented by its 51-year-old Chinese project manager, Yang Chuanggang, who appeared without legal counsel as the named individual in the case. According to the charge, the company had connected to a public main water pipe without AKSB's permission at Section 12, Bandar Kota Bharu on September 11, 2019. According to the case facts, the illegal connection was discovered during a joint operation by the National Water Services Commission, SPAN and AKSB, following a formal complaint. Deadly landmine struck Nigeria. The details right after this breather.
Baik saja tertuduh menyalakan pemeti api, api telah menyambar badan si mati hingga menyebabkan beliau melecur hampir keseluruhan badan beliau.
Siasatan mendapati punca utama kejadian adalah konflik dalam hubungan mereka.
Mati telah melecur terbakar sebanyak 95%.
Rumah sampah jadi stor makanan.
Ni tempat you punya stok barang tak? Stok barang dalam ni?
So ini bos, saya dia orang pakai, saya depan kejap.
Haiwan perosak, antara punca tahap kebersihan diragui.
Saya tak risau customer kata tak sedap. Saya risau kalau customer kata saya sakit makan. Itu masalah.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton. Tuan Badan tak cakap apa-apa, dia pula yang lebih-lebih.
Lebih sudu dari kuah pula dia.
Kenapa ramai orang suka dengki?
Tak boleh ke tengok orang lebih sikit?
Syira, kadang-kadang bila ditimpa musibah pun masih ramai yang tak ada empati.
Di mana hilangnya nilai kemanusiaan?
Syawal ni makan-makan juga, kesihatan kenalah jaga.
Takut kena kencing manis pula.
Tapi Syira, best ni kalau pasangan kita ringan tulang.
Wanita hari ini.
Kebakaran di Gebeng ni boleh kita katakan aktiviti yang sentiasa berulang.
Kesukaran kita untuk memadam kebakaran ni, dia memerlukan air yang banyak kerana kebakaran tu berada di 2 kaki 3 kaki dalam tanah.
Paling rumit, rasa macam dah tak nak buat. Susah sangat. Dalam tu ada tangga lagi. Sebab rumah asal cik macam tu. Kena ada kekuatan diri. Kita nak jadikan benda tu kenangan pada anak-anak cucu. Rumah kat mana kita, macam mana kita duduk dulu.
News from the foreign front. At least 2 Israeli missiles have bombed the largest remaining functioning hospital in northern Gaza on Sunday, destroying its emergency unit, main entrance, and medical oxygen supplies. Critically ill patients were left on the street after fleeing the attack early in the morning, with one doctor reporting at least 3 people, including a child who was on oxygen, had died due to the rushed evacuation. Meanwhile, the Israeli military said the hospital was targeted because it was being used as a command and control center. However, they have once again not provided any proof to back their claims. As the situation in Gaza continues to deteriorate, a patient at Gaza City's main hospital described the aftermath of the Israeli strike as terrifying.
يعني المنظر كان الليلة مخيف يعني في نص الليل وين المريض بتروح.
The attack on one of the territory's key medical facilities has also intensified concerns over the safety of civilians and healthcare workers amid the ongoing conflict.
سكرت لا في مستشفى شفا ولا في الخدمة العامة ولا في صحابة ولا في حاجة. هذا الوحيد المستشفى الوحيد اللي بغذي قطاع غزة من الشمال للجنوب.
At least 8 people were killed after a bus traveling along a road in Nigeria's northeast Borno state detonated a landmine. According to authorities, 7 other travelers were taken to the intensive care unit of a hospital in Maiduguri, while 14 people sustained minor injuries in the incident. The Boko Haram group is expected of having planted the landmine on the 100-kilometer highway linking state capital Maiduguri and the town of Damboa. Meanwhile, the governor has since urged security agencies to intensify efforts in combating insurgency and securing major roads across the state. Former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol is expected to face his first criminal trial on Monday for insurrection after his short-lived imposition of martial law, which plunged the democratic country into political turmoil. The Seoul Central District Court is set to open the hearing on Yoon's insurrection charges at 10 a.m. local time. The commander of the 1st Security Group of the Capital Defense Command, Cho Sung-hyun, and head of the 1st Special Forces Battalion of the Special Warfare Command, Kim Hyun-ki, is also expected to take the witness stand. During Yoon's impeachment trial, Cho testified that he was ordered by his superior to send troops to drag out lawmakers from the National Assembly after the martial law declaration. Kim is also believed to have received a similar order the same night. If he is convicted, Yoon could face a life sentence or death penalty. The UK government has now taken control of Chinese-owned British Steel after an emergency legislation was rushed through Parliament in a single day. At a rare weekend session on Saturday, the Parliament quickly approved the steel industry's special measures bill without any opposition. The government saw its possible closure as a risk to Britain's long-term economic security, given the decline of the UK's once robust steel industry. Following its approval, Prime Minister Keir Starmer said his administration was turning the page on a decade of decline and acting to protect the jobs of thousands of workers. The country's business secretary also said the government's likely next step would be to nationalise the plant, which employs 2,700 people. Switching to sports now, football, the Super League. 2 matches were played on Sunday night. Negeri Sembilan FC recorded a 2-1 win against Kelantan Darul Naim FC, while Penang FC claimed a narrow 1-0 victory over Kuala Lumpur City FC. At the City Stadium, hosts Penang took the lead 27 minutes into the game when Muhammad Alif Iqmal Rizal slotted home from close range. The City boys pressed hard for an equalizer in the second half, as Patrick Reichelt scored a header just before the halftime whistle, but the goal was later ruled out for offside. Penang then held firm to seal the 1-0 win. They now sit in 10th place with 26 points, while KL City remain in 6th with 28 points. On to MotoGP, the Qatar Grand Prix. Marc Marquez won his 4th straight sprint of the season to retake the lead in the Rides Championship, while his younger brother Alex took 2nd place yet again on Saturday. Marquez briefly took the lead on the first lap and battled his brother almost to the end, as he came in 1.577 seconds behind on his Gresini Ducati. The two brothers have finished 1st and 2nd in each of the 4 sprints this season, as Marc moved up to 98 points, while Alex is 2 points behind. VR46 Racing's Franco Morbidelli came in 3rd, while Alex's rookie teammate Fermin Aldiger had an impressive ride to come 4th for his best ever finish. Meanwhile, Morbidelli's teammate Fabio Di Gianantonio finished 5th, with Maverick Vinales of Red Bull KTM Factory Racing taking 6th place. Tennis now, the 2025 Monte Carlo Masters. Carlos Alcaraz captured his 6th ATP Masters 1000 title and 1st in 13 months on Sunday, where he overcame a physically hampered Lorenzo Musetti. The 21-year-old Spaniard delivered a composed performance and benefited from Musetti's clear physical issues in the 3rd set to triumph 3-6, 6-1, 6-love in the final match. Having triumphed at Roland Garros and earned silver at the Paris Olympics on clay last year, the Spaniard stayed composed in chilly, slow conditions to earn his 3rd Masters 1000 title on clay. Alcaraz will climb to number 2 in the ATP rankings on Monday, following his victory, surpassing Alexander Zverev. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at this Aidilfitri open house organised by the KRT and Residents Association of Persiaran Mahogany, Bandar Sri Damansara. With that, I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.